Hochul.
Assalamu alaikum. Today our hearts are broken. The pain is searing. There's a family that expected to see their beloved son, husband, father, for many more dinners, birthdays, and life celebrations. But because of a madman who traveled 1,000 miles with such evil in his heart to come and destroy all that is good about New York and New York City, with an intent to cause unspeakable pain and in a savage way, we are here instead of a birthday party or dinner or breakfast together. I know there's a great pain in the Bangladeshi community as well. It is a strong, resilient community. I know they'll rise up. They lean on each other. But I want you to know this. Lean on all of us. Lean on all your brothers and sisters in the New York family, because we're here to lift you up and help you get through these trying times. There's another family, which is one that is often taken for granted by too many outside these rooms, and that is the NYPD. We should not just think of them in times when they lose a brother or sister. They should be in our hearts and minds with a sense of gratitude for individuals like Officer Islam, who came to this country to give his family a better life. Could have gone into any profession, anything. He was smart, he was engaging, he was friendly, people liked him. He had such great personality. And yet he chose a profession that is dangerous, requires sacrifice, long hours away, and ultimately willing to be prepared to lose his life to save the lives of others. The Quran says, whoever saves a life, it is as if they saved all of humanity. This officer saved lives. He was out front. Others may be alive today because he was the barrier, unexpectedly, but he was there. He was there to protect the people in that building, as well as his daily duties, starting at 6:30 a.m. at Precinct 47, where I was yesterday, looking in the eyes of his brothers and sisters who now go on without him. The residents of this city, and indeed this state, must show greater platitudes and gratitude toward our police force. They have not received enough in years of late, in my opinion, and that must be rectified. They need our support. As I spoke to the family, I was asked one thing for the young widow. She just said, pray for us. Pray for us. The mayor and I were at a prayer vigil with the commissioner, and I want to thank both of them for their incredible leadership during this time when this city is reeling in pain. But you're helping us heal, and I so appreciate that. And to Pat Henry, I've had too many calls with him, giving condolences, which seems so hollow. But he is a pillar of strength to the men and women he represents. We continue to support him. I'll close with this. You're not alone. Sometimes it seems so incredibly sad and overwhelming. But this is the time when New Yorkers rise up. We've been knocked down so many times, whether it's the individual loss of a life, 4 lives shattered, or large-scale mass tragedies. We always come back. That is our strength. And we pray to God today, the prayers being prayed in this place, that others can heal. Others will join this family in their mourning, but to celebrate a life well lived. On behalf of 20 million New Yorkers, I want to bring the condolence of your entire family, your extended family. We are there for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Governor. I'd now like to invite up the Mayor of the City of New York, the Honorable Eric Adams.
I want to first acknowledge in the room today those electeds that I saw, starting with our Bronx Borough President, Vanessa Gibson, our District Attorney, Darcel Clark, our Public Advocate, Jamani Williams, our Congressman, Congressman Espaillat, I'm not sure if I'm missing one. Congressman Richie Torres is here. Our Councilman Yusef Salon, that's here as well. And I apologize if I'm missing any name of any of the electeds here in a unified way. We are here to show our support for this family. And I'm not here as the mayor. I'm here as a parent, as a father. And when I visited Officer Islam's dad yesterday, I could only reflect on the birth of Jordan. I remember being in the delivery room when he came through his mother's birth canal. And when I saw his head for the first time, and the doctor moved to allow and assist in the birth, I moved her hand away, and I touched my son's head, because I wanted to be the first person to touch my son when he entered into life. And I thought about that when I sat on the couch yesterday. That many people don't fully understand. If you have never been a parent, you don't fully understand the relationship between a parent and a child. And throughout my life, of my son's 29 years of life, I only hope that one day he will have the honor to bury me as his dad. Because sons are supposed to bury their dads. Mothers are supposed to be buried by their daughters and their children. There is nothing more tragic than having a parent bury their child. The pain is so immense. It is so intense. And we think about it over and over again just in these 3.5 years as being the mayor. The times I had to attend funerals of the public at large, but specifically law enforcement officers, Detective Dillard, Officer Mora and Rivera, of hearing the cries of their families and loved ones, trying to find words that could properly define how we're feeling the pain of what we've lost. This murder and the murder of others who were in the building, it cut me to my core. Spent my entire life defending and fighting for the innocent people of this city. And each death I take personal, because as the mayor, I am responsible for the safety of New Yorkers. That is my obligation, and that is my most basic function. And for someone to drive across our country carrying an automatic weapon and taking the lives of innocent people, you ask yourself over and over again, what more could we have done? How could we have responded better? And you have a tendency to blame yourself. And I just want to say sorry to this family. I want to say sorry as one parent to another parent. And we must live in the spirit of Officer Islam and what he stood for and what he would always stand for and what he fought for. And I want to say thank you to the men and women of the New York City Police Department in general, but specifically to the men and women of SRG. They entered the building while the shooter was still alive, and they conducted a floor-by-floor search. They wanted to ensure that everyone in that building would have come out safely, and the men and women of ESU and the men and women who responded and carried out your son out of that building, hoping to give him the medical care that he deserved to save his life. I want to thank those of Rudin Management who did everything possible to create a safe environment, unfortunately, in a system where we are now having to train each other on how not to be the victim of senseless violence. And I want to thank the men and women of the 4-7 precinct. In spite of what happened, they put on a uniform the next day. They carried out their jobs and their obligations and their responsibility to protect the people of this city. And I want to thank New Yorkers, the number of calls and communications that we received to stand in unison with this family and this city as we heal together. And I want to thank you, Governor, the Governor of the state of New York, your leadership during these trying times of making sure our police officers and our families receive the support they need to carry out their job. And to you, Police Commissioner, for what you have served this family, not using the terminology that we are a family, then we abandon each other during times of need, but the services that you have provided for this family during these difficult times is admirable in the spirit of who we stand for as men and women of the New York City Police Department in the city of New York. This is a law enforcement family, a law enforcement family. The cousins are part of the law enforcement community. They believe in public safety. They came here pursuing the American dream, a Bangladesh community that has grown in power and strength. And as the governor stated, he could have gone into any other occupation he wanted. But he wanted to put on that uniform. And he wanted to protect fellow New Yorkers. And he wanted to let us know that he believed in what this city and what this country stood for. That's the greatest symbol of what we know we are as a country. And so as the mayor of the city of New York, yes, I'm angry. I'm angry that a dad has lost his son, that a mother has lost her child. I'm angry that 2 boys are not going to grow up and be with their father, to go inside the mosque and learn the power of the Quran. I'm angry that a child that's on the way is not going to have the opportunity to let his dad touch his head as he exits the womb. I'm angry that this community has watched one of their own leave our city prematurely. I'm angry that the men and women of the police department are watching a fallen brother who died as a hero defending this city. But in all that anger, I also have hope. I have hope because of who Officer Islam was. I have hope that we still have in our city men and women coming from different walks of life deciding that they want to wear that blue uniform and fight to protect our city from those who wish to harm us. I have hope that if we're in this room together in this mosque, lifting up our hero, then we could enter the mosques, the synagogues, the churches, the Buddhist temples, the Sikh temples, and also cross-pollinate and coordinate on how we can make this city a greater place that a person would not believe violence is an answer to the question. I'm filled with hope and optimism today because of the life of Officer Islam. And I commend the mother and father of our officer. They instilled something special in him. Everyone we talked about, they talked about how special he was and what he represented. If we are true practitioners of the faith that we have embraced, then we should see God in each other. We saw God in Officer Islam. And now we must take that God-like energy that he offered to allow us to live out his legacy the way he will want to. Our hearts lift him up in prayer. Our city is with you. As one parent to another, I will continue to pray for you and your family, his mother, his wife, his children, his child on the way. And as the Quran states, we come from Allah and we return to Allah. I've learned not to question God. I learned to respect God. And may God be with you.
Thank you, Mayor Adams. I'd now like to invite up the Police Commissioner of the City of New York, the Honorable Jessica S. Tisch.
Salam alaikum. To the people of Parkchester, to Imam Maulana Muhammad Mainul Islam and the entire Parkchester Jame Masjid family, thank you for your graciousness, for your compassion, and for welcoming us into your community. Governor Hochul, Mayor Adams, thank you for being here with us. To Jamila, Ayan, and Azan, to Muhammad and Manara, to Naima and Nadima, to all extended family and friends, to police officers from the 4-7 precinct across the department and around the nation, and to every person mourning with us today. On behalf of the entire New York City Police Department, I extend to you my deepest and most sincere condolences. 3 days ago, time was moving fast for Didarul Islam. His 2 young boys were growing quickly, getting bigger and more independent every day. And in just a few weeks, another blessing was on the way. His sons were eager to meet their new baby brother, to teach him and to keep him safe. But of course, Didar would be there to help with all that. After all, he was a New York City cop, and protecting people was what he did, so his boys, they wouldn't have to grow up too fast. Their Baba would be there. And then, in one shattering, incomprehensible instant, time stopped. A killer on a self-centered, senseless crusade of violence took the lives of 4 innocent New Yorkers. He tore a father from his children, a husband from his wife, a son from his family, and in that moment, he ripped the world away from everyone who knew and loved NYPD police officer Didarul Islam. He was a son of 2 cities, born in Sylhet, Bangladesh, called to New York at the age of 20 by the promise of a better life, and he would build that life and fulfill that promise through service. He joined the NYPD first as a school safety agent in 2019 and became a police officer 2 years later. In his own words, the police were a blanket of the community, there to provide comfort and care. And when he joined this department, he made that his personal responsibility. But it was the man beneath the shield, steady in spirit, generous in presence, who left the deeper imprint. No one saw that more clearly than his partner Pablo. At first, Didar was rotating through partners like most New York City cops do, but despite everything that set them apart, he and Pablo found something that brought them together. Pablo was from the Dominican Republic. He was raising 2 daughters. Didar was from Bangladesh, raising 2 sons. 2 journeys, 2 traditions, 2 lives shaped continents apart. Yet here in this city, they found a bond as strong as family, a connection born of faith, carried by trust, and rooted in the values that they both lived by. And that is the most New York story there is, because only in this city do 2 people from opposite ends of the earth end up in the same RMP, watching each other's backs. Only in this city do those differences become strength. Only in this city does a partnership like that feel not just possible, but inevitable. Pablo put it so simply. Everything you can ask for in a partner, he was just that. But as much as this job meant to Didar, his true measure was found in the beautiful life that he built beyond it. He talked often about his wife, his kids, his mortgage, as reminders of what he was working for. And he never stopped working for them. 12-hour tours in a busy precinct, extra shifts, paid details. Last Sunday, he was out at the Dominican Day Parade working more than a full tour. And on Monday, the day that he was killed, he picked up work at 345 Park Avenue to bring home just a little more. Because that's who he was. He didn't look for an easier way. He just showed up and he did the work. There's a quiet dignity to that. A quiet dignity. Everything for him was about building something for his family, for his mosque, for his adopted city, and for his relatives back in Bangladesh. They were all in his care, and he found peace in watching them grow. Didar came to this country with that purpose already alive in him. A sense of duty shaped by the belief that real meaning is found not in what we take from the world, but in what we give back. He stepped into a new land and chose to become part of its promise, to believe in its dream. And he did believe in the American dream, not as something handed down, but as something built with your own hands. He may not be here to see that dream fulfilled, but his sons will surely grow up with its foundation beneath their feet because Baba laid it. Through the hours he worked, through the life that he built, through the path that he paved. That journey is now stitched into the fabric of this city. The hope of an immigrant, the strength of a family, the resolve to serve the place that had taken him in and made him its own. There's a belief in Islam, sadaqah jariyah, that the good we do in this world doesn't end when we do, that there is true power in good deeds and a life of service leaves a lasting trace. Officer Didarul Islam lived that kind of life, one that keeps unfolding in the world he left behind, in the steadiness that he brought to those around him, in the streets that still carry a sense of safety because he once stood there, in the example he offered, not loud, not showy, but strong enough to stay with you. His watch may be over, but his impact will never be. And if there is any grace to be found in this grief, it is knowing that the light that he carried did not go out. It just moved forward, and it shines within the family that he worked so hard to build. For his wife and young boys, Didarul was the provider, the protector, the stable, supportive hand. And today, they are left to wonder, what now? Who will take care of us? Jamila, Ayan, Aizan, look around you. Look at all the NYPD officers here and outside this mosque and across this city who stand with you. I stand with you. I am so heartbroken for you and for your family. And as we scan that sea of blue, you will notice that they look a whole lot like Didar. They wear his uniform, his shield, his collar brass. They carry on his purpose and are sworn to finish the work that he started. And they will be there for you always. In the NYPD, there are certain honors that carry deep and enduring meaning, not because they mark a destination, but because they speak to the path it took to get here, to the service given, the sacrifices made, and the legacy left behind. Didarul Islam came to this country as an immigrant with no guarantees, only the hope that hard work, that humility, and that purpose might lead him somewhere meaningful, and it did. He earned the respect of his peers. He believed in this department. With only 4 years on the job, he did the work of a cop with twice that time and in a command where the work never slowed. But no matter what this job threw at him, you could count on Didar to get it done and to get it done right. And though his journey was cut too short, the way he lived this job, with steadiness, with heart, with conviction, it reflected everything this title represents. So today, it is my honor and my great privilege to promote Police Officer Didarul Islam to Detective First Grade. Detective First Grade is one of this department's most respected honors. It is a symbol of trust, of excellence, and the kind of judgment that others depend on. And while Detective First Grade Didarul Islam didn't have the time to walk the full path, he embodied those qualities and more: steadiness, selflessness, and a commitment to serve. The night that Didar was killed, condolence messages poured in from every corner of the world. His death united millions in prayer, and there was one refrain that echoed again and again and again: may God grant him Jannah. For 2 billion Muslims, Jannah is the ultimate reward for living a righteous life of faith, kindness, and good deeds. It is paradise, and it is also one of the Islamic faith's great mysteries, because these wondrous blessings are beyond human comprehension. We will never know why, we will never understand, but even in our moments of greatest despair, we can take comfort in one thing that we do know. If Jannah is the reward for a righteous life well lived, then Didar Islam surely awaits his loved ones in eternal paradise. May God bless him. May God bless his family. May God bless the New York City Police Department. And may Detective First Grade Didarul Islam's memory be an eternal blessing.
Thank you, Commissioner. At this time, I'd like to invite up the President of the Police Benevolent Association, Patrick Hendry.
Monday was a day that changed and shattered so many lives. 4 New Yorkers who were torn away from their families that will never be the same, including our hero brother who put himself in harm's way to protect the people of this city. And just like the people he died protecting, he was torn away from his family. And for him, his family was everything. And on Monday at the hospital, I had the opportunity, unfortunately, to speak to police officers about him. And I can tell you this: every single day he came to work, he gave it 100%. He was determined, and he was focused, because it was always about providing for his family. Whatever he had to do, whatever hours he had to work, that's what he was about. And he could have gone any way to do that. He could have chosen any path. But he decided to become a New York City police officer, a job he loved. And he loved putting on that uniform every day and pinning that shield. But we all know what he was most proud of when he took off that uniform and he went home as a husband, as a father, and as a son. New Yorkers, often when they look at police officers, they see the uniform. And they sometimes don't think about the families that are waiting for us to come home, hoping we come home safe. And when a police officer makes the ultimate sacrifice, they're called heroes. But for this family and other families, it doesn't ease their pain. And for police officers, we understand that. There's not a police officer here or outside that's not thinking about their own family. And that's why it's our obligation, our duty, to be there for this family. Our hero brother did everything for his family. And now that he's gone, it's our job as police officers to step up and be there for this family. Not just because he's a hero, not just because he wore the uniform, but because he would have been there for our families. Didarul Islam was a great cop, a great family man, and just a great human being. I want this family to know that we will always be there to honor him on into the future. And I want to thank the thousands of police officers who came out throughout this city, this state, this country to be there for this family.